Hey guys, my name's Mark, and if you're watching this video, thank you. This is my first commentary above a pretty fun Halo game I played, and so I think I'll just get right into it. We'll see how this thing goes. What I wanted to talk about today is an issue of communication, and it's about when you reach out to someone and they don't get back to you. That's what I want to talk about. Because today I was eating lunch at Subway with a friend, and we got into not an argument exactly, but a kind of heated discussion, maybe, about this issue of what the proper response is when you, meaning any single person, reaches out to another person in the form of a text or a phone call or whatever it might be, and the person you're trying to reach out to doesn't bother to get back to you. And I know I've experienced this situation far too many times, and it sucks every single time because for me, there's almost nothing worse than being ignored. It's just totally shitty because when I reach out to someone and they don't get back to me, that pretty clearly sends the message that from their perspective, I am not important enough to merit a response. And I want to clarify when I'm talking about maybe you text someone and they don't bother getting back to you, like you say, hey, I want to hang out, and they just don't get back to you. It's totally reasonable and understandable and fine if someone initially misses your communication. You know, maybe you text someone and they're in class, or their phone is in another room, or they had a crazy night and just didn't have time to respond, and that's totally fine. But I mean, I don't think I'm wrong in thinking that you should respond eventually, right? Like maybe the next day you think, oh man, crap, I forgot to respond to that person, and then you respond. But the point is, I don't want to get too off track here. The focus of our discussion that I was having over lunch today was, given that I am in a situation where I have reached out to someone else, and that person decided not to get back to me, what should my response be? And I personally am of the opinion that communication is almost never a bad thing. And so in the past and currently when this happens to me, I'll usually go and talk to the other person and say, hey, so did you get my text the other day because you never got back to me? And just, it doesn't have to be a confrontational thing, and I think that's the issue. It doesn't have to be angry. What you should not do is walk up to someone and say, hey, fuckhead, why didn't you respond to me? That is just, let me tell you from experience, that just doesn't work very well for you or the other person. But if you just have a rational discussion, to me it becomes about respect, actually, in that, how to put this? Let me say it like this. When you're friends with someone, I think that type of relationship requires work, just like if you had a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And if you're trying to communicate with someone, if you're trying to say, hey, let's hang out, we're friends, let's do something, and they don't get back to you, and worse, even when you say meet in person, they don't acknowledge the fact that they didn't get back to you, you're not respecting each other. And to me, the only respectful, reasonable choice is to just ask that person what was going on. And so that was my viewpoint, and the person I was talking to, their viewpoint was that the way they phrased it was that it's not my place to change them. Because, to a degree, it seems like some people, and you know what I'm talking about, there are some people who just are flaky, right? They just never get back to you, and they miss out on plans even when they're scheduled, and it seems like that's just kind of who they are, and unfortunately, there might not be a lot you can do to change it, but I think it's fair to say that that's more of a personal problem for them. So, again, his perspective was that it's their issue to try to improve their own communication abilities, and it's not my place to try to change them. But like I said, to me, it just comes down to it just comes down to respect. And if I'm going to make an effort to reach out to someone, I didn't have to do that. Just like, it sounds kind of cheesy, but it kind of comes down to the golden rule. Like, if I know how I feel when I get ignored, and let me tell you, it's not good. And given that, I know that when someone else makes an effort to reach out to me, and they didn't have to do that, if someone else makes an effort to reach out to me, I really try to make an effort to reach out to them. And if I forget to, or I don't, I had better have a good reason for it, or I'll acknowledge it and say, hey man, I'm sorry, I missed your text the other day, but let's hang out next weekend. And it's, I guess from my perspective, it's not much more complicated than that. And so I always get frustrated when I hear people talking about how I just need to accept that some people are just that way, and maybe I'm just being needy. But, well, I don't think I am, but then I'm not really maybe the best person to judge myself. But anyway, I'm actually getting pretty close to the end of this game looking at my time limit, so if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope what I've said makes sense and maybe got you thinking a little bit, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.